Are we surprised? Are we? What's up, everybody? It is Jordan. We have a very different setup today. Let me tell you why. I have just been very unimpressed with myself lately, I guess you could say. But I've been creating videos and not even posting them. Yes, just wasting my own time. And I'm thinking the reason for that is because I've really been wanting to do something different. Some of you guys may be aware, if you watch my vlog channel, that I've told you that I love commentary videos. I enjoy them to the fullest. Some of you have even told me, rudely and in a snarky way, that I talk too much. So I figured this would be a great job for me, not only because I like to talk a lot, but if you guys do not know, I do have a whole entire degree in education that I don't use anymore. So I figured I'd use it here today. Yes, it's going to be about fashion things and like pop culture and whatnot, but education nonetheless. Here we are today. This is my first commentary video. Sorry to the people who are new here, you probably don't give a crap. Also, another quick disclaimer, you guys may be used to people having a microphone. I do have one, just it's on the way. I just couldn't wait to start this, so I just went ahead and sat down and decided that I was going to record without my mic. Now, even when my mic gets here, let me go ahead and tell you now, it was recommended by my boyfriend, who also uses a mic for streaming, but he uses it for Call of Duty. So I don't know if the criteria for commentary and Call of Duty go hand in hand, but we gonna see. Let's go ahead and get into the reason why you are even here. So as some of you guys may have found out by now, Gossip Girl has returned after 10 years. Yes, that's right, you heard me right. Gossip Girl is now back. We watched her and fell in love with her, well, maybe love-hate with her about 10 years ago, and now she is back in the form of a reboot. There's been a lot of talk and excitement, and also maybe not so much some excitement about whether it would be good or not. Of course, it is a reboot. We've seen reboots flop tremendously from shows that we have loved. But then there also has been the promise of there being more diversity in this new Gossip Girl. If you guys saw the OG Gossip Girl, I ain't gotta say nothing. Y'all know what it looked like. As a person of color, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love OG Gossip Girl. But I am very excited to see some new, fresh faces. So let's go ahead and get started about probably the most talked about thing. What do the first Gossip Girl and the current Gossip Girl have in common, and how are they different? If you want to bring back a reboot, you gotta definitely bring the nostalgia at least a little bit hard, because I know me as a previous viewer, I want to feel like I'm watching not exactly the same show, but you know, give me the same feeling. So of course parallels are very important to this show. Now, we definitely caught some parallels in just the first episode alone of Gossip Girl. We still have the met steps that the students of Constance Billard and St. Jude still enjoy eating their lunch on and bullying others. And let me go ahead and stop you right here. If you have not watched this show, if you intend to watch it and you don't want a spoiler, just stop right now. Come back later. Save me to watch later. Now, we were dropped the little gem that apparently our boy Nate Archibald is very successful now.
This school produced great people. Caroline Kennedy, Colson Whitehead, Nate Archibald.
We even were brought back an old character by the name of Rebecca Sherman. Now let me tell you right now, I don't remember Miss Rebecca, okay? Shout out to the IG page, Blonde Stuck in the 2000s, because she pointed that one out. I didn't remember Rebecca at all, but Rebecca is now a teacher apparently. And of course, most importantly, we have the parallels in the form of relationships between the characters and in the form of the characters' characteristics themselves. Of course, that can be a kind of shaky, sketchy thing to do. You don't want to make another Blair Waldorf, another Serena van der Woodsen. We're gonna get into the tea, if they accomplish that or not. By the way, I really am drinking tea, y'all. This is my favorite mug. So one thing about the new setting of Gossip Girl, clearly some time has passed, therefore some things have to change. It's not going to be the same. We're just not in the same time period. It actually is set in the year 2021. And so of course that means we finally get to watch a show that talks about the fact that nobody got to do anything last year and that a lot of students had to sit in front of a computer to learn. And they were not in college yet. So that definitely added some relatableness into the show. We also even have a new Gossip Girl in town, but the viewpoint is very different. Some people like it, some people don't. Apparently the new Gossip Girl is the teachers. And not even trying to be biased, but the reasoning for them making the teachers, I felt like, was some tea. We gotta be real, whether you want to admit it or not, today's children's is bad. And of course, imagine the setting of this high school. We have some very privileged students for the majority. They are probably used to getting what they want, and they are teenagers in the year of 2021. Yeah, that don't sound good.
Which one of them should I get fired next?
What did you just say?
Teenagers at that have been learning and not actually interacting with a real teacher in person. I felt like it made for a good twist, and I don't think it would have been as interesting really if it was the same concept as the first time. But I think some of us also noticed some bad things about the teachers being Gossip Girl. Of course, with Gossip Girl being a platform where you are sharing and airing out teenagers' dirty laundry, we can come across some complications with the fact that these are minors and the teachers are not minors. I think a lot of us have been kind of cringing lately at some of the scenes that have occurred with the teachers in relation to the students and what they were willing to do and how far they were willing to go to get a story. I personally predict that something is gonna go wrong with this. And if so, I wonder if Gossip Girl is going to take the time to talk about child exploitation on the internet. I personally think it would be a great opportunity. One thing that I couldn't get my head wrapped around, but I'm like conflicted about it. It makes sense why. Why do all the teachers look 16 years old themselves? They literally look like the students. That was one thing that I kind of was like, you know, this is not realistic. This does not make sense. These are high school teachers and they all look 17. But I guess when you do think about it, considering these are teachers that are expected to understand Instagram, they are going to have to be on kind of the young side.
Should have known. Is anyone under 30 even on Twitter?
Speaking of the teachers, there was one that was giving me a little bit of the ick watching her act. I feel like it got better as the show went on. I'm not gonna say who. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news and the basher of women. But y'all watched it. If you watched it, you know who I'm talking about. She made me uncomfortable. We have covered the similarities between the new Gossip Girl and the old Gossip Girl. But let's talk about the differences. While I did say it is very important that you do bring in some things that bring nostalgia to people, it's also very important that you don't give somebody the same old story but with new characters. We ain't here to see that. So let's talk about the obvious aspect here. One very kind of weird thing that the new Gossip Girl reboot did was show us the twist in the first episode. Instead of us sitting here wondering the whole entire time who Gossip Girl was, they went ahead and told us the reason why they did it. And the showrunner did put out a statement about this with the reason why. I just felt like it was very important for the audience to know off the top that this show is different from the first time. That the show wasn't going to be what you saw for the first time around. I also feel like it's very important not to do the exact same show again, because if I wanted to do the original show, we would have brought back the original cast. Which he then goes on to tell us that they wouldn't have done it anyways because they outside handling their own business. Miss Blake Lively is busy married to Ryan Reynolds, raising James and that other baby's name that I don't know. And Ed Westwick is out here apparently being a real life Chuck Bass. Another huge difference, obviously, is that Gossip Girl is no longer the blog that it once used to be. Gossip Girl is now ran on Instagram and Twitter social media handles. Now, there have been some people that love this concept, and there have been some people that absolutely hate it. Let me just say this. We gotta be realistic here. There's no teenagers out here keeping up with a blog on the latest dirt. It's just, I remember being a teenager. It was hard. I did not have time to check a blog, okay? Twitter, yeah. Blog, no. But another reason they did this, because we do have to consider the main character, the it girl Julian, is shown to be a huge influencer on Instagram, and we get to kind of see her day-to-day life and how she deals with that. We've got to be honest here, social media has definitely had a hold on us, so it only makes sense that they focus in on this. I, for one, am very interested in seeing how this plays out in comparison to the first Gossip Girl. Now let's get into my favorite part. We can probably guess what this is. The fashion, of course. Now, obviously, we can see from watching this show that it was not like the first Gossip Girl fashion, and that may be for the best. Of course, like the first Gossip Girl show, they did hone in on a lot of expensive brands, which only is right considering we are looking at the elite of the Upper East Side. They had brands like Bulgari, Harry Winston, Louis Vuitton, Balenciaga, so clearly we can see that this show had money the second time around, which, word on the street, they definitely spent a lot more making this show than they did the first one.
In the middle of a pandemic?
The new Gossip Girl reboot did decide to bring in the OG designer of Gossip Girl, which I may also add also was the designer for my show Sex and the City. But let me tell y'all, Eric Damon didn't come to play with us this season. He said he wasn't on that old stuff that he used to be on. He said y'all ain't finna drag him through the mud. According to Eric Damon, the fashion in general feels very different from the original, and it's all thanks to Instagram. I wanted to honor what's going on with the Gen Zers and really play to that crowd. It was essential to really do a deep dive and be inspired by Instagram and influencers and have that be part of the dialogue as well as part of the look. Which I will say, Mr. Eric Damon, makes plenty of sense. I mean, we have to be honest with ourselves. And I mean, it may not be all of us. Some of us may be original, but there really are no original ideas out here. A lot of us do get our inspiration from Pinterest, from influencers, from whoever we're following on Instagram, from our friends who get it from influencers, Pinterest, runway shows, and whatnot. So it made sense that he wanted to make this a big deal in this show. The fashion in the show was definitely giving TikTok and Instagram influencers, cool girl of New York that influences and hangs out with her friends all the time. Now, I personally am for one going to miss Blair Waldorf's little get-up with her headbands, but apparently we won't be seeing any of that in the new Gossip Girl. Not with the way they did Zoya's headband in that show.
What are you doing? What if she's cool? She has a headband on. Let's do this instead.
Veering over from Blair Waldorf and how she typically dressed in her smart schoolgirl casual, we take a look over at our new it girl, Julian, and she definitely has some contrast compared to Blair. For one, Julian looks a lot more laid back and relaxed than Blair often did. Julian, on the first day back to school, shows us that she is the alpha female. She is giving not following the rules of the dress code while displaying her dad's designer oversized shirt while wearing a tie and biker shorts. Yes, we said biker shorts. Now, I personally think it's pretty cute, but I just know my girl Blair Waldorf is gagging.
So it should come as no surprise that many girls before you have gotten the axe when their choices reflected poorly on us.
Didn't realize. That tights are not pants? Honestly.
Well, alright. It's time to talk about the elephant in the room. The thing that everybody was probably most excited about, especially people of a person of color background. Now this is, I mean, are we surprised? Are we surprised? I'm not surprised. With hearing that we were going to get some black representation, I'm not gonna lie, I had hope that we would go deeper into the spectrum of what a black woman could look like. I think this was definitely a great chance for Gossip Girl to allow a darker skinned girl to play a lead in a show like this. That would have been absolutely groundbreaking, but we all know that there's levels to this apparently. I'm guessing that they probably wanted to go the safe route in choosing a black girl to be the lead. I'm not saying it's right, I'm just observing what probably happened here. We've seen it happen time and time again. But between them having Zoya, Monet, and Julian, let's just get a round of applause for there being more than one black girl. I mean, we're making progress. That's all I can ask for. Okay, so the real question here. Who is gonna be the new Serena? Who's gonna be the new Chuck? Who's gonna be the new Blair? That's what everybody wanted to know. Let's start with the main girl. We have Julian. She is the new it girl. Now, some may want to say, you know, Blair because Blair ran the pack. But we also have to remember that when Serena wanted to, she ran the pack. Or really just in general, at times decided to just go solo overall. The designer Eric Damon points out that Serena in the original Gossip Girl did not really care about what other people thought of her, as we could see in her many scandals. But on the other hand, Julian was very aware of her self-image. Which also, according to Damon, makes sense because she is an Instagram influencer. We often know influencers to be really calculated in how they go about life. Cancel culture is real out here, so they do have to think about what they put out and say online in order to not get canceled, in order to keep a career. Now, even though I'm sure the show did not want to have clear similarities, I still felt that they definitely did. Zoya, Julian's half-sister for one, definitely showed some similarities to Jenny Humphrey. Of course, coming back from a more humble background, showing up as the girl that's trying to get along with the cool girl. Even the fact that it's looking like she may have to turn, it's giving very much Jenny. Now let's get into Obi. Obi was interesting. So a lot of people say that they see a connection between Obi and Nate. Of course, with Nate being very privileged and as well as Obi being very privileged. They also seem to share the common interest of being kind of the nice guy. But can we all notice the fact that Obi sounds exactly like Dan Humphrey? Like exactly like Dan Humphrey? Like I almost feel like he tried out and they say you're hired because you sound like Dan Humphrey. Not to mention his love for the more simple things and his uninterested air that he has also like Dan. Only there's one big difference between Obi and Julian and Dan and Serena. Obi clearly is not as swayed by Julian as we saw Nate was with Serena, no matter what she did. Now, getting into the show, I was really trying to figure out who Blair was. Let me just say, Blair in the first show, absolute favorite character, okay? So I need to know who Blair is. I think many had a very hard time observing who the new Blair was, which is a good thing. That means they added a little spice. At first, I think many of us thought it was Monet, but as the show trickled on, they definitely started showing more of Audrey, who also had that good girl but mean girl air just like Blair. But what really convinced me that Audrey may be kind of a hint at Blair is really her connection with Max. Oh y'all, Max. I think there's no argument. I think everybody pinned Max as the new Chuck Bass. He's got that same swag as Chuck Bass.
I'm Chuck Bass. Alone.
I think he literally sat and watched Gossip Girl and said, okay, got it. But besides that, him and Audrey seem to kind of have that same forbidden love thing going on that Chuck and Blair both had. It seems to be a very teasing relationship, just like we saw in Chuck and Blair. And I'm wondering if they're going to test us with that relationship as much as they did with Chuck and Blair. But speaking about Max alone, first of all, let's get into his name. Max Wolf. Chuck Bass. But if any of you watch the first Gossip Girl, we can automatically see the first episode and see that Max is on a whole other level than Chuck Bass. And here we thought Chuck couldn't get any freakier. Max doesn't just have the air of Chuck where he gets what he wants and he takes. He is getting what he wants from wherever he wants and whoever he wants. Which brings us to another very important topic. A different intro to different sexualities on the show. Now, in the first Gossip Girl, we did get Serena's little brother. I forgot his name.
I hate to say it. I hope I don't sound ridiculous. I don't know who this man is.
Apparently his name was Eric. Sorry, Eric. But we watched Eric in Gossip Girl to see that he was gay and had a thing for dating men who were not open about it. We don't get this with Max, okay? Max is open, y'all. He is fluid. He is very comfortable in his bisexuality. I, for one, found this very refreshing and different. We always get the whole I'm not ready to come out type of story.
You didn't know Eric was dating a boy. This doesn't make any sense because that would mean that Eric is. And he's not.
Which is also very important for people to relate to and see because it's something that many people go through. But we don't often enough get someone who is just comfortable with it. So I think he's going to be very interesting to watch. Now, I know I didn't touch too much on the characters Kate and Aquino. I'm still trying to figure out where they are. Kate is definitely looking like she's gonna be giving, you know, Julian's crony type of thing. She's going to be handling all the dirt and throwing out the side insults. But with Aquino, I'm thinking they really did bring a new, fresh character. If you guys see somebody similar that I didn't point out, then definitely comment below who you think he has similarities with. But yeah, Aquino is giving something new and fresh. But Aquino also is making the relationship between Max and Audrey very interesting. I think we smell a love triangle. But only in this case, it looks like the triangle may be comfortable with tangling together. Although Audrey and Aquino are clearly the happy couple, there have been many that want to see the connection between Max and Audrey spark, to give us that same nostalgic spark that Chuck Bass and Blair used to give us. But the show did give us a little bit of a twist. We saw Max and Aquino eyeing each other. There are some people who kind of want to see Max and Aquino get together. Many people, for understandable reasons, feel that there are enough hetero relationships in this show and they want to see some diversity. Which one are you? Are you rooting for Audrey and Max so we can get that same Blair and Chuck love-hate relationship? Or are you ready for something new? Comment who you are rooting for below. I think most of us are very interested in seeing what these side characters are talking about. After all, we do know side characters pretty much carry shows nowadays. Our new Gossip Girl reboot started off on a little bit slippery slope. I for one appreciate it being more relatable and being with the times of us using social media the way we do now. And I also find it very interesting that instead of the main characters Blair and Serena being friends that sometimes beef with each other, we've got two sisters that may be doing a little beefing. In my personal opinion, it looks like it's going to be a show at least worth watching and giving a shot. With that being said, that's all I have for you guys. If you have not seen the show, I highly recommend giving it a shot, even if you have not watched the first Gossip Girl. I don't think it's a requirement for you to understand it completely. For my regular subscribers, and shoot, heck, if you're not regular, subscribe if you want to see more. I definitely have a lot more commentary coming. And if you're used to my usual content, how are you liking it? What you think? Any constructive criticism? Be careful, I'm a Leo, okay? We don't like criticism, so be really nice. No, but for real, let me know what you guys think, and I will see y'all in the next one. XOXO. Okay, that's not my outro, but bye, y'all. I just really need y'all to see this outfit that I put on for y'all in honor of the new Gossip Girl show. It's giving Constance Billard, if I do say so myself.